A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
Good morning, everybody. Woo! Come on, it's January. Your tears aren't freezing. Sweet, it's great out. It's almost shorts weather. My name's Kate. I'm going to be your MC this morning. We've got a great program for you. Hollis is going to be here with Northern Plains Dance. I nicely asked her to present, and she nicely agreed. I think that's how it went, pretty much. So we're at 1 Million Cups here. We're here every Wednesday. We have an entrepreneur, a community leader that's here to talk about an idea or a business. Do we have any new people in the audience today? First timers? One? Couple? All right. Thank you. Welcome. Let's give them let's do it. Let's do it. Woo! Well, thank you guys for being here. As I said, we're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m., so you can come every week. If you don't already have it, download the app and check in. We've got a 1 Million Cups app. It helps us figure out who's here each week. You can rate the speakers. You can look at who's coming up. So please download the app and check in if you don't have it already. We're also passing the cup. If you want to put your business card in the cup, you will get an email every week just letting you know who's here and any other 1 Million Cups Start Bismarck information. So here's a cup. Thanks, Janya. It's like a collection plate. You can put cash in there too. No? Okay. Well, if you want to, cup's up here. Want to talk about our sponsors, because these are the people who keep the lights on, the heat, which is quite warm today actually in the theater, the heat going. They are here and supporting us every week, so if you see them, thank them. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, find one of us in the organizers team, Evan, Janya up front here, Kayla, Lakin, and they will be happy to chat with you about that. I want to talk about some community announcements that we have coming up. I know we have a few slides for community announcements. Let's see. Why are we here? We're here for 1 Million Cups. Here we go. Thanks, guys. Bismarck Beacon, this is my slide. With the downtowners, we were doing this thing that Kayla's calling speed dating for friends, and which I called friend pimping. But it's essentially, we're going to show you guys all the cool things that happen in Bismarck. If you're new to the community, you're a new resident, you're an HR recruiter, we have organizations get 5 minutes to pitch the sweet, awesome things they do in Bismarck, and helps connect you in. So if you want to go, it's free. It's actually this Friday right here, and you can register on Eventbrite. Other community announcements.
Hey guys, I'm Ashton from Maple, and I just want to invite you to one of our favorite days of the year. It'll be our 4th annual Maple event on Leap Day. So naturally, our theme is Taking the Leap. So we have 3 different speakers coming to downtown Mandan. We're just going to take over with a ton of activities. But we have Jeremiah Utek from Off the Deck Hot Sauce, Erica Hager from Bison Booties, and Justin Walsh from Co-Schedule, and they'll all be sharing how they took the leap and how they kind of get to that next level, when not to take the leap, and all sorts of things like that. So general admission ends on Tuesday, so if you want to join us, make sure to save that $20 and sign up by then. I'll also tweet the link so that you have that. Thanks.
All right. Other community announcements. The famous Kim Conoco.
I don't think I'm famous. How many of you know that the state has an arts council? Woohoo! That's really great. So February 1, our application opens up for the coming year. And for individual artist fellowships this year, we're looking at theater and dance. And there's a wide range within that, so you can check those out. And the other announcement that the other thing that opens up for us is Community Arts Access, which is for smaller arts organizations. And there are also residencies for in the school. So we hope that you will explore those. It's for the next fiscal year. Projects run July 1 of 20 to June 30th of 21. We have to plan way, way out. The other thing that I want to announce is not my department, but I'm happy to share this news. Tourism has actually put together a kind of an amazing competition with money behind it. So what they're looking for is films, 8-minute films, and what they're hoping to find is a sense of place that's represented by the people who submit the films. And then they're going to do kind of a Shark Tank elimination contest, and the prize, though, is $25,000. So that's actually big. So if you know anybody in the film industry, please send them over to the tourism site. The next thing that they're also doing is an Instagram contest. And that can be, again, about a sense of place, how you feel about North Dakota, how it tells its story to you, and there's money behind that as well. So this is kind of a first. Film doesn't fall under arts and culture, go figure. But I'm happy to share that with you, and yeah.
All right, give it up for Kim. Other community announcements. Does anybody have anything? You don't have to have a slide. All right, come on up. I just want to announce that Fire Flowers got Indian supper night Monday, the 3rd. Delicious.
Good morning. I have a quick announcement. We are fastly approaching the year anniversary of the Bismarck Writers Guild. So if you've heard of Bismarck Writers Guild, great. To celebrate, they've put together an anthology that's just been published. It's called A Nightmare's Testimony, and the release party will be on February 15th. So there's going to be hors d'oeuvres, complimentary. Come by, celebrate with us, and some drink specials, and that'll be at Thomas Moriarty's. You can find all this information and all the book signings around town on, Bismarck Writers Guild on Facebook and on Twitter. Thank you.
Any other community announcements? Did anybody get any courage to do another one? There's a lot of guilds in town. Brewers Guild, Barista Guild, Writers Guild. That was pretty cool. We need to start a 1 Million Cups Guild, I think, you guys. So what is 1 Million Cups? 1 Million Cups is a free weekly program that gives an entrepreneur or a community leader, like I said, an opportunity to pitch. What we'll do is Hollis will give a short presentation, and then we're going to pepper her with questions, a Q&A. At the end, you can ask anything, personal questions, financial questions, religious. Hollis will answer all of them. Thank you, Hollis. Also, it was like 78 degrees when we got here today. The guys in the tech booth have no pants on at this point. So let's give them a big round of applause. Sweating to the oldies. Nice guys, thank you. Okay, well, let's get to it. Hollis McIntosh Hyde, HMH. She's going to share the process of building a community arts facility and her journey with Northern Plains Dance. Northern Plains Dance exists to inspire the appreciation of dance through artistic excellence and to enrich the cultural landscape of our community. She's got some of her team and board members here as well. Mackenzie, I see Darren. So thank you guys for coming. Please help me welcome Hollis McIntosh Hyde.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Of course, now I have a frog in my throat, so I'll do my best. I just want to start this by saying that I somehow managed to make it through high school in the 90s, having never had to do a PowerPoint presentation, so this is my very first one. Yeah? It's very exciting. 2020, it's the year. Anyway, so when Kate approached me about this, she asked me to talk a little bit about my journey. And I'm going to start all the way back at the beginning. Give you a little bit of background about myself, and then I'll talk about the community and what we have built and are developing here. So, I'm originally from New York. Ready? Here it goes. That's not the right button. But not that one. Oh, it ruined my joke. That one. I'm from a little tiny town in upstate New York that has more cows than people, but we were really, really lucky that there was an incredibly talented and world-famous ballet teacher only 20 minutes away. So the story about how I became a dancer is long, it's family lore, but the end of the story is I do not remember a single week where I didn't set foot in a dance studio. And that has been an incredibly integral part of my life since before I can remember. So after I graduated from high school, I went off to Butler University, go Dogs. They got famous kind of after the fact for like basketball or some sportsing thing, but I went there because they are always ranked in the top 5 of dance colleges. So I graduated from Butler with a dance performance degree, but while I was there, I discovered that what I really liked doing, other than standing on my toes, was arts administration. I found it really fascinating. So it took some ribbing, but I did end up graduating with 2 degrees. They finally let me have both, and I decided when I graduated I was gonna stick with my first love, and I took off and I became a professional dancer. And for those of you who think professional dancer might be like a person who takes their clothes off, a professional dancer is actually a person who gets paid a salary, and sometimes even benefits, to spend their days standing on their tiptoes. Yes? And typically they become a member of a company, which is a group of dancers that perform what's known as a season. So after I graduated, I took off and I joined the Chamber Dance Project, which is in Manhattan, so I ended up in that first New York. I joined Louisville Ballet for a long period of time, went off to Cincinnati Ballet, and finally Augusta Ballet in Georgia. There's a little bit of a trend here where I apparently just moved to cities where massive sporting events happen, but I've never been to one. So, after Augusta Ballet and a sort of tragic end to that company, some bankruptcy essentially, I took off and I ended up at Northern Plains Dance, which at the time was known as Northern Plains Ballet, and it was a professional company. And it was only a professional company in Bismarck for about 2 or 3 years. And at the end of my first season there, the board of directors got together and they decided that Bismarck didn't want to support a professional dance company. I don't think they're wrong. And I was kind of left standing, in the ashes, and I'd met a really cute guy who's here. So I decided that I was gonna transition, and I was gonna become an administrator. And to be honest, I decided to do that because I figured, hey, if I like it, I can move back to the East Coast, civilization, and I can make a career. And if I don't like it, I don't have to tell anybody. Right? And just move back to civilization and move on with my life. Turns out I loved it. So the first thing I did was I was hired as the school director initially. 54 kids in that school. Tiny. No way to make a living, right? Long nights, I was the only one teaching. It was a lot, right? So Northern Plains Ballet became Northern Plains Dance to signify that we were more than just ballet. And now I've forgotten which button it is. Nope. Not that one. We'll get there eventually. And then what we did was we made a civic company. And a civic company is different than a professional ballet company. It's a group of pre-professional, also known as not paid, dancers, typically teenagers, who are heavily involved in all aspects of learning the art of dance. Everything from learning the technique to learning all aspects of performance and all of the opportunities that come with dance. And civic companies are very common all over the country. So that was our first move. But we were faced with a challenge. 54 students. We have a building. We offer classes. We offer performances. But that's not a way to make a business. So we began to look at our nonprofit status, and we said, you know what our real mission here is outreach. We have an obligation to educate the community, and that means the state, the region, etc. So we added, I'll go through these quickly, plenty of literature out there if you want to know more. Summer camps, ballet in a box, dance on the go, NPD in the classroom, aging gracefully, kid ticks, steps, discover dance, and educational presentations. That took about 5 years. And all of that stuff was designed to reach populations that we don't normally think of as reachable by a dance community. That includes scholarships. It includes movement classes for our elderly population. It includes connecting academic learning with movement actually in public school settings. And while we were working on building all of this and growing our staff and growing our student base, I kept getting pulled into these conversations. And I kept getting requested to attend these events put on by Parks and Rec, by the local Arts Council, by the Chamber of Commerce, by the city strategic planning, right? I kept getting asked to come to these conversations. And the same players would sit around the table. And the same conversation was, we need an art center. How are we going to make this happen? And if anyone ever sat around that table with me, you'll know that I didn't make a lot of friends during those because I said, the thing is, you can't shove us all under one roof and make us all happy, right? We have to be on our own, we have to be supported, and we have to support each other. But the idea of this single place, I mean, can you imagine 5 o'clock? Right? Northern Plains Dance students are done, CDCC students are done, here comes the symphony and Dakota Stage to rehearse. There are not enough cops in Bismarck to control that traffic, right? It's not a great idea. But what we do need is we need more space. So as we're growing, I don't know if you guys have ever been to our location on Main Street. Don't ever try to park there, especially not now when it's melting. But we were sort of growing out of our space. And all of this stuff was going really well, and we began to look for a new space. And as we were looking for a new space, the problem is I don't sit still very well. So we started to add things like Dance for Parkinson's. It's a nationally recognized program that you have to be certified in. We started to add kinder music, again, nationally certified program. YAGP, the Youth America Grand Prix, which is an international ballet competition. All access dance for individuals with disabilities. We have a boys scholarship, Boys Dance Free. If you know any boys, Boys Dance Free. Okay. Bismarck Larkettes. Did you guys see the adorable dance team? Studio Connections, where we actually bring people in to see our work in the studio. And all it came down to is we needed more space. So about 4 years ago, we began the process of looking for space. And the question became, do we find a space that fits what exists in the jar, or do we look for a space that it starts to encompass all the things we want to add, all the things that haven't come up yet, and what can we do to support the community who also needs more space? So over 4 years, we looked at a number of properties. The big problem with most of them is they have pillars, to support the ceiling, which is like ideal, but it's not ideal for dance, right? You don't want to run into pillars. Not a good plan. So we kept looking, and we actually made a couple failed offers. This whole time we weren't telling anybody, right? We didn't want to get anyone's hopes up, and we knew that we had to do this on our own. And finally, after sort of a failed offer on a building that took me down a peg, I asked our realtor, who's now our board president, Handy, to show us a building that I'd been sort of looking at for a while. And when I went to look at this building, we met with an architect who said, here's what I need you to do. I need you to write down 3 lists. What must you have? So in order for Northern Plains Dance to make this purchase, we had to have the space to have 3 studios, which is what we have now. Administrative offices, a copy room, reception area, waiting room, locker rooms with bathrooms, family changing rooms, public bathrooms, a costume shop, storage, a garage door, and a parking lot. That was an absolute necessity, and that actually grows our program even though it doesn't necessarily grow the number of studios. We don't have locker rooms with bathrooms. We don't have a place for a dad who's bringing his little girl to dance class to change her clothes. So this was really like, if we're gonna spend this kind of money, we have to have this. But it went on. What we really want is 5 or 6 studios, not just to expand our programming now and in the future, but to be able to provide more space for all of the performing arts in the community. A conference room, a kitchenette, a study room. Our senior students are with us on average about 20 hours a week, and in downtime, they've got to have a place to focus on their academics. Nursing rooms, 3-year-old kids taking dance often come with infant siblings. Janitor's closet, which we don't have. We dump a lot of water by the train tracks, just so you know. A scenic workshop and a fitting room for our costume shop. And then they asked us to go one step further. What was our dream? Our dream is to have a black box theater. Dakota Stage has this amazing facility with 80 some odd seats. But this is the only theater of its size. And because Dakota Stage occupies it, they have first dibs. And this stage, while it's wonderful, not ideal for dancing. And the problem is, all of the other performing venues in town are controlled by educational institutions or by the government, which is fine, except it means that they have first dibs, and it pushes out many of the performing arts groups. We want room for an art gallery. Not a huge one, we're not trying to take anyone else's business, but art exists because of other arts, and we want a place to showcase that. A Pilates studio for cross-training, athletic training rooms so that our student athletes, our student dancers can receive the support that they need, and a staff bathroom. Now, it seems weird that that's on the dream list, but have you ever tried to go to the bathroom when all 3-year-olds get out of dance class? They take forever. Okay, so staff bathroom, incredibly important. So as we're looking, we walk into the former Front Street Millworks building. And there's a sliding door. I'm happy to give tours, by the way. When you open that sliding door, you realize that this is all possible. My staff, all of the people who have helped me through this have been absolutely incredible, and we have actually kept it a total secret for 2 years. We've kept it a secret from everyone, and I cannot tell you how much fun it was to tell those parents, like, we're gonna have a parking lot. So, here's the thing. We got everything. We got what we must have. We got what we really want, and ultimately, we're gonna have our dreams. So we're not only gonna have a place for Northern Plains Dance to continue to expand and improve on its current programs and initiatives, but we are going to have a physical monument that shows Bismarck that the performing arts are a vital and necessary part of the community. Did you twirl?
I did.
You're hired.
All right, sweet. Thanks so much, Hollis. Super excited for you.
Yeah.
We kept the secret too, you know?
I
mean, we
know.
were scooching around there. Really happy for you and your board and your staff, and Mackenzie has been just stellar. Kenzie, raise your hand. Woo! So if you have any questions, Lakin is our mic runner. She's here. Just raise your hand and you can ask Hollis. Like I said, any questions, personal, whatever. If you are a little shy, we have someone monitoring social media. Just use the hashtag 1MCND and they will ask your question for you. So question in the front, Eb.
One thing I didn't get from the presentation is how you landed in Bismarck. There's quite a little journey from your small upstate New York to a lot of big communities.
Sure.
What brought you here?
An accident. You know, I was dancing in a company in Augusta, Georgia, and I will never forget April 14th. We went to work and the director just broke down in tears. And the night before, the board had actually shut her business down. And it was a company founded by her husband. And the way that professional dance companies work is they're brief contracts, like somewhere in the range of 30 weeks. And there's an audition season. And, right before that season, you're either rehired or let go by the company you're currently working for. And I had been rehired. I really liked it there. We were doing really interesting work. It was, it was warm. And I hadn't auditioned anywhere. I didn't think I needed another job, and unfortunately, April 14th is after the audition season. And so one of the young men who was also dancing in Georgia had been here in the first year of Northern Plains Ballet, and he called up the director and said, I got 14 unemployed people, how many do you want? And so 5 of us actually moved here together, and we were here for that year before, to be honest, the board did the same thing, and I was a little bit like, maybe I should stop. So, yeah. Thank you.
Do you have a question? No? Just, yeah? Go, okay.
Yes.
Right there. By the way, your husband is here. He's here on the one side.
Me?
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the cute guy I was talking
He's the one who kept you here. You're right. I'm telling you guys, employee recruitment and retention is all about finding somebody a significant other.
Trust.
So more speed dating. Friend dating? Speed friending? What do you call that? Your event?
Yeah,
Yeah.
speed dating for friends, but that's like the nice part of it. I said friend pimping, but it could be other pimping as well.
I'm super excited for you guys on this new space. Do you know, obviously I'm assuming you're going to have to do some remodeling with that space. Do you guys have an ETA on when you guys are hoping to open?
So my husband's a contractor, so I'm gonna look at him. No, I'm kidding. So this never happens, but in commercial real estate, we closed 3 months early. Kind of caught us a little off guard. So we are working on a plan, and we have obviously an end goal that includes all of those dream things, but that's a few $1 million away. And so our goal is to step into that, and right now it looks like we can open there with essentially our must-haves by the fall at the latest. So the renters who are in there right now are out in 2 days, and then I have a sledgehammer.
I hope we can draw stuff on the walls, and then smash them.
100%, yeah.
So are you planning a capital campaign?
It's going on now. It's called, ready for this, The Next Step. Aww. So if you head to our website, which is northernplains.org/the-next-step, the capital campaign is going now, complete with naming opportunities.
So from a state point of view, and
Hold on, Kim's going to say something about giving us money. Wait.
right.
Okay. I tried, Hollis.
I'd like
Thank
somebody to give me money,
Okay. Gee.
not be tied to those purse strings. So my background is in dance, and coming here to North Dakota was a bit of a shock in terms of what was available for dance. And there is God bless you, Hollis. There are professional companies over on the east side of the state in Grand Forks and in Fargo, and then you come here. But there's not a lot of professional dance going on in the state. And there's a great fear of bodies. So it's a remarkable thing that at Northern Plain Dance, you're starting at such an early age to get these kids comfortable with their bodies and asking questions and moving and learning. And the fact that you needed to grow, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the number of students you have now, the number of classes you offer.
Sure.
But I just wanted to say that it's a remarkable feat that you've gotten this building. I hope everyone considers giving to the capital campaign. Even a small amount will make a big difference. But what this does for the arts in this community is outstanding, and I'm super proud of you, and I'm now excited to say we have something going on.
Thank you, Kim. So in our office, we refer to our enrollments in two ways. And this, my mother was a college administrator, and so she talked about students in two ways. She talked about them having heads and butts. So the question is, if you've got one person registered in college, they have one head. But if they sit in 7 different classes, they have 7 butts. So we don't, you guys, now you know our secret. We don't like tell a lot of people this. So when we started, we had like 54 students with like 64 butts. I mean, there was like kids were coming once, right? For like 1 hour, one time. And I'm gonna look at my people back here. We have 242 heads as of yesterday. And we've got like well over 500 butts. 4 to 5, yeah. So the thing is not only are we massively increasing the number of students, but they are massively increasing the number of classes that they're taking with us. And one of our things as we are growing these programs is the fact is there's no way to predict how many kids in any year, A, want to dance, B, are going to pick us, right? And so that's why we really started to look at these outreach programs as a way to encompass more people, because when you just look at 4-year-olds who think tutus are pretty, that's pretty limited, right? And the thing is, dance is like a part of everyone's life, whether you can, if you think about it that way or not. And so, you know, adult classes and wedding dance workshops and private lessons, the number of people who call and say, can we do the dance from Dirty Dancing? And we're like, sure. It's going to be expensive, but we can work on it. So, you know, the thing is, dance is part of everybody's lives. And so the thing that we always say is if it fits, if you can dream it, we can make it happen.
Awesome. Question there, and then we have one a few rows up after.
This is so exciting. I want to ask you for Giving Hearts Day and the Capital Campaign. Can you talk a little bit about that? Do you have any matches? What does that day look like for you guys?
For Giving Hearts Day?
Yeah, and especially with this huge...
Yeah, for sure. So,
Alice, are these plants in here?
no.
I mean, okay.
No, I'm also blind, so I can't actually tell who's talking.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Okay.
So if they were, it's not, yeah. So Giving Hearts Day is coming up on February 13th, and is anybody not familiar with Giving Hearts Day at this point? It's a statewide giving initiative drive. So Northern Plains Dance has been a part of it for 7 or 8 years, and we, of course, will be involved in that again. All of our matches come from private donors. So one thing, and we've talked to the Impact Foundation, who puts it on, about doing some more outreach in this part of the state with businesses. When you go to the eastern part of the state, businesses are sponsoring and doing matching dollars all over the place. It's a lot harder to find businesses to do it here, and so the organizations in this part of the state often look to private donors. That's where our matching funds are coming from. We have an incentive. Last year, if we raised $10,000 before the match, we let our senior students teach a ballet class to all of our staff, only half of which are actually dancers. So, and one of us is really old. So, don't worry, I showed off and then I couldn't walk for like 2 weeks. But this year we have the same incentive, but this time we're going to force the board members, Darren, to take a ballet class also. We're going to challenge. There we go. We are really hoping, and a lot of our marketing for Giving Hearts Day has been shifted from, giving a girl a pair of shoes, like based on the Marilyn Monroe quote, give a girl a pair of shoes and she can change the world, has kind of been our go-to for Giving Hearts Day. And this time we're really focusing on the building, and our phrase being, we can build this together.
Darren, you should feel lucky, because I think one year somebody had to wear like tutus all day to work or something. Yeah.
Yes.
So could be worse. All right. Oh, all right. Well, challenge accepted.
Mine's not so much a question, it's a comment, and it's been something that's really impressed me in our time. I've got 2 girls that started dance 2 years ago. Well, not quite, 1.5 years. But what is very unique, and I know this just from my experience growing up and from friends, other places, Northern Plains Dance serves the whole family. It is not just you drop your kid off and you pick them up in an hour and they, whatever. As a matter of fact, I took a ballet class on Saturday, and I can't walk anymore. Because they don't water things down just because you're old. But I've really found that it's through the performances, through everything else, it serves the whole family, and the whole family grows together, and it's been a really positive thing. And I think it's just part of the Northern Plains dance culture, and I want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
That
You're
it's
gonna make
been
me
very
cry,
positive.
Sam.
So, there
Thank
you go.
Hey, guys in the booth, can we put that picture up, the rendering again? Hollis, I want to ask you kind of about the location. So if you guys have been to the new Laughing Sun, just drive 4 blocks east more and you'll hit where you're at. You're kind of in the industrial area where the city's calling it the machining district. So talk about, why you picked the location other than obviously the building was important, but you really could be a catalyst in this part of this emerging part of the community.
Yeah. So when we were looking for buildings, we really looked only downtown. We serve the entire Bismarck Mandan community, and by being downtown, we are essentially equal distance from all of the high schools, including Mandan. And so as we were looking for a space and sort of looking on that range, people would say, well, why don't you look in the Northeast? I'm like, because kids from Wachter could never get to us at 4 o'clock. And our philosophy about how we teach, how we construct our schedule is that when kids are advancing, they're really picking us as their sport. And so our advanced classes happen at the same time their friends have like volleyball. So then they're all done at the same time and they can be teenagers instead of the other way around, which is having them dance really late at night. So that was really important to us, especially with teenage drivers. And what you've heard about traffic leaving schools is that we were in a place that was really reachable, but also square footage. I mean, that's a huge thing for us. And then, the more you talk to Don and Kate about what was happening in this neighborhood, the more we felt kind of encouraged that we could again serve the community by becoming an anchor in that part of downtown.
So beer, dancing, 2 anchors, I think, that are really important
Obviously.
for the community.
You need coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Hint, hint.
is there room here?
There's room for everything.
All right, you've heard it. I want to ask you a couple things that we normally ask, what we consider maybe entrepreneurs or business people that we have up on stage, but who's your competition and how do you price your services? You're still running a business, you still need to make money. Who do you consider your competition in the community? And then when someone comes in and says, I want to do the Dirty Dancing lift, I know you look over your insurance and then say, all right, this is what it's going to cost, but talk a little bit about you as a business like
Sure.
that.
So there's, we have a couple of direct competitors. There's, 3 other studios in town. And, we do everything based, we pleasantly ignore their pricing, right? Because the other studios in town are what's known as competition studios, and they fill a really important niche in the dance world, but it's just not what we're about. And so when you're looking at organizations like that, their class prices tend to be really low, but what tends to be really high is all like the, let's say, hidden fees. So, every time you're in a class, you have to buy a costume for recital. Every time, so there's all these add-ons, and what we do is actually the opposite. We believe that teaching the art of dance is just that. It's about teaching technique, not a specific dance. And so our classes are priced slightly higher, but then we really try to keep our fees open. So for us, if a child decides to be, or I should say if a family decides to participate in the Nutcracker, they have the opportunity to audition and add that to their schedule, but if they decide not to, it doesn't take away from their class. So their classes happen regardless. Nutcracker is an add-on, and the pricing for that we try to keep really honest. Thank you, Renee. And then, obviously the other thing that we're super up against is all the other sports. That's a big thing for us. Like I said, when our kids get advanced, it's, they are choosing us to essentially replace any school sport. And that, we just kind of have to face head on. There's no way that we can replace soccer, right? If a kid decides they want to do both, we certainly do our best to make sure that they're successful in whatever they choose to do. They don't just have to be successful dancers to get our services. And then, of course, things like the children's choir and stuff like that. And again, the structure's just so different. that we've come up with a pricing structure that works for us, and yeah, we go from there.
Evan.
Kind of along that business vein, are you more or less operationally self-funding this as you go? Obviously, building a new building is going to take
Yeah.
lots of capital, but just operationally, how are you doing in terms of funding?
So we're about 50-50 between like donation dollars and tuition and ticket sale dollars. So when that jar graphic with all of that extra stuff that we add in are all of our programs that really allow us to sort of maintain our nonprofit status, and a lot of those are funded through grant dollars, and then the surplus from what we get from classes and ticket also gets poured into our outreach pot. So that is a huge part of what we do, and we try to make sure that we're being responsible with donors' dollars and really pointing them in that direction. So,
Question back there.
Hollis, do you want to touch on some of the accomplishments some of our students have?
oh, sure.
That's a total plant, by the way.
That was not a plant. So our students, Pam was talking a little bit about educating the students, and I think the biggest challenge this entire time has actually been about educating the parents. This is a part of the world where an arts career is like unheard of, and I cannot tell you how many people have come to my office and been like, it's not like she's gonna make a living. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, I have a roof over my head, and I get that comment all the time. There's 6 people on my staff who are handy dandy making a living at this. So, the parent education has been really difficult, and one of the things that's very common in other parts of the country is seeking training from outside sources. So big professional companies and small professional companies all over the country host summer camps. They're known as summer intensives, and they are like sleepaway camps, 6 weeks. You live in a dorm. It is all day, every day, and you're taking from professional teachers in if you go to the Boston Ballet Summer Program, you're not just taking classes from their professional dancers who are like the ones on the cover of Dance Magazine, right? These are like the celebrities of the dance world. But you're also taking classes from the teachers who taught them to be those celebrities. And they're expensive, they're time consuming, and your kids go really far away. And getting the parents to understand that this is okay and this is the way it works has been a big journey. And so I'm really proud to say that over the past 4 years, that culture has really changed. We've had a student who qualified for the Bolshoi Academy in New York and then was asked to do the extension of that, which was 3 weeks in Russia. Where it was in both a Russian language immersion program. Also, she got to study at the Bolshoi, like at the actual theater, just crazy. And then we've had students go off to Milwaukee Ballet, Colorado Ballet, Fort Wayne Ballet. We've had one at Boston Ballet. The list goes on. And I think one of our biggest accomplishments is, I don't know if you guys have ever been to our performances, not this year, but previously. We've had this very handsome young man named Nathan Bender. And he has been our student since he was 4. And he looks a little like a skinny Disney prince. And he's really talented. And he went off full scholarship to Pittsburgh Ballet Theater last summer, and they kept him. They took him away from me, but it's wonderful. So he is on a full scholarship to study in their professional school. And so the kids who are in that program, there's like 15 of them from the country. And the thing is, not only did Nathan obviously work really hard to get there, but how incredible is it that his parents went, you know what, young man, if this is what you want to do, you go do it. Right? And it's the same thing if we had a really talented snowboarder and you're like, okay, well, guess he's got to move to Vermont by himself where there's, mountains, then you just do that, right? And that's, we don't have mountains here, did you know that?
Better than Fargo, as I always say. You hear that, Fargo, this is on the live stream, get it, Bill.
And so we're really proud of not just Nathan, but also his parents. I actually just heard that one of our students who has not actually put herself out there for a summer program yet just got into the 6-week intensive at Milwaukee Ballet, and her parents are letting her go. So I'm thrilled.
Yes, awesome. Oh, question here, and then we'll ask our last question.
Thanks, Hollis, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now that Nathan has had the success and you're offering free scholarship for boys, have you seen an uptick in
Yeah,
that?
we have we started the year with 6 on scholarship, and then we had a handful. We had like 13 boys at one point, and only 6 of them decided to take advantage of the scholarship, which I thought was also really generous of their parents. But we're like in double digits of boys. Yay. Yeah. I mean, some of them are like 3, but still, we'll take them.
Great job, Hollis. I'm so glad you were able to be here. You made your big announcement. We're so excited for you. We wanted the community to be able to share in your journey and your big announcement coming up and what you've got going forward. So I'm very happy that I was able to ask you nicely to come
So
and
nicely,
that you did.
yeah.
Okay, so we always ask our same last question for the people who are new here, and Lakin's going to ask it.
Thanks again, Hollis, for being here. As a Bismarck Man and 1 Million Cups community, what can we do to help you succeed?
Spread the word. It really comes down to that. The mission of this entire project has been not only what can we do to support ourselves, but what can we do to support the community. And I think with that message being told by more than just me, I think that's how we're really going to be successful in this. And like I said, it doesn't just come to dance. If there's any way that you can imagine that we can partner on anything to get the word out about, this project, Northern Plains Dance in general, your business, if we can partner, we're incredibly interested in finding a way to make that happen.
Awesome. We'll give it up for Hollis and the crew. If you know someone or you yourself are interested in being up on the 1 Million Cup stage, you can just go to our website and fill out the application to present. Next week, we're going to have a panel of Giving Hearts Day folks talking about what they do, not necessarily fundraising, but what they do in the community. So it'll be fun. There might be some furry things here. I'm not sure. Could be cool. But thanks again so much, Hollis. We'll see you guys next week, 9 a.m. right at Dakota Stage.